So, welcome to the pre-scene analysis for our February 2020 case study, operational case study exam. The company been given to us this time around is called Lottie Graphite. It's a company that makes pencils, which we'll get to know more about once we get into the pre-scene. So, throughout this whole pre-scene analysis, we are going to go through important syllabus areas, point out opportunities, threats, weaknesses, new areas that the company must look at, could look at, and the actual problems or the opportunities with the company. Now, all of this is being done so that when you write an answer in the exam, you have good material with yourself to include in your answer. You have good, let's say, pre-scene background, pre-scene knowledge. A lot of your business skill marks, a lot of your integration skill marks will be enhanced if you use the pre-scene or just simply use the ideas that we're going to give to you as part of your answer. So this is part one. We'll begin with the first page, which describes your role. So in your operational case study exam, you've been given the role of a finance officer working within the finance department of Lottie Graphite. And your role changes regularly, which means you might be given different kinds of jobs. You might be given a job that has to do with finance, management, anything, because the role changes regularly. For the past few months, you have been principally responsible for preparing budgets, weekly and monthly management accounts, and providing cost information to management as required. Now, if you look at these topics, you'll notice that these fall into your P1 syllabus. These fall as part of your P1 studies. So before we go into the pre-scene analysis further, we need to mention that in your OCS, a very high percentage of your marks are based on technical skills. So it's very important that you learn or at least go through the P1 and F1 important topics. E1 as well, but E1 is a little bit more general. P1 and F1 are specifics. You need to know your budgets, your variances, your management accounting, short-term decisions, stuff like that. So please remember, technical skills are important. I'll say technical skills are important. However, as part of your career program, you will also be expected to work on non-management accounting tasks. For example, you may be expected to assist with the preparation of financial statements and financial reporting. So as you can see, this falls into your F1 syllabus, which is very specific. An IAS rule is very specific. You cannot make it up. So again, the importance of the textbook, the importance of your technical skills is being brought to the fore. Now we give all our students comprehensive notes for E1, P1 and F1. That's all that you need. You do not require anything. You don't need to read the big textbooks or anything like that in certain cases. But it's important to go through the textbook or important to go through the notes, whatever material you have access to make sure that the topics are covered. So most important is to get the topics covered. You may also be expected to assist with the analysis of information such as purchases, sales, payroll information, and involved with decision making. Please remember, your P1 syllabus of relevant costs and decision making scenarios becomes important over here. Which costs are relevant, which are not relevant. They might give you an exam scenario where you need to look at relevant costs and give them an analysis of the same. So again, another area that you go through. Now we are talking about the changing role of the finance officer. This is not there in your pre-scene. It's just an input that's given by us. Now, earlier, the role of a finance officer or normal management accountant was only to report the performance. But in today's time, they are expected to enhance the performance, to give or add value. How is this done? So process automation and modern manufacturing environments are increasingly being influenced by software and IT developments. So a finance officer's job will be to look at patterns and provide solutions. Hence, with the onset of innovation, This will also be a very creative, important area that finance officers need to look at, which is enhancing performance, giving new uh, creative areas a chance to improve the business. Understanding of a number of finance functions such as planning, forecasting, resource allocation, performance management still remain important, which is the normal jobs of a finance officer. With this changing environment comes the importance of data and information in the digital world. This is a very new topic that is introduced in your 2019 syllabus. So yes, data, the digital world, big data opportunities, which is now part of your E1 syllabus, becomes important, becomes an area that we need to look at. Next, we go on to the introduction. So now we're talking about the actual company. Now, Lottie Graphite is the manufacturer of graphite and colored pencils. That's your main job. The company is based in Goland in Western Europe, where the home currency is G dollars. So obviously there is no country like Goland in the world. It's a fictional company that's been created, that's been created. But they say Western Europe. Western Europe is something that's real. So Lottie is located in a developed economy because most of the countries in Europe are well developed. So since Goland is also in Europe, you can say that it's located in a developed economy. So it opens up your advantages such as better infrastructure, highly skilled workforce, and customers have the spending power. So obviously that gives an edge to your company because it's already in a developed country, developed economy. Whereas a developed economy comes with its problems, such as there will be higher regulations, higher government scrutiny, and high factors of production, which means land, labor, machines, whatever will be expensive. So just a couple points for you to take into view, for you to maybe include as part of your answer. For example, when you're writing an introduction, you can just begin quickly by saying that Lottie being located in a developed economy opens up further avenues of expansion for us. As part of your introduction, as part of your recommendation, wherever you want, you can include these points. That definitely adds marks, definitely shows business skills to the examiner. So yes, that's important. The company was founded in 1902 by Frederick von Fern, who named it after his beloved sister Charlotte. Company was founded in 1902. So roughly you've been in business for over 117 years. That's a big time for a company to be in existence. A business can only and only survive for so long because it has garnered a loyal set of customers, a growing brand image, all of which include to or amount to increasing goodwill. So this is something very easy that you can include while writing an answer. You can simply say, we've been in the business for 117 years. So we know the market, we know how it's going to change, we know customer perception. You can use all of these points to to add value to your answer. So please make sure you're making your own notes as well. The company remains in the ownership of the founder's family, and the current managing director is Charlotte's great granddaughter. So it remains in the ownership of the founder's family. It's a private company. So being a family company in today's modern world comes with its advantages. There will be a unified long-term view because everybody wants to work for the existence of the business. The younger members of the family will be introduced to the business at a young age. So they will know the business in and out. They know everything, how the business works. Whereas the disadvantages are if there are family feuds, family fights, family problems, most of the businesses suffer. Favoring family members as board members or CEOs when they don't fully deserve it. That can also be a problem. I want to make my daughter the CEO of my company. She might not deserve it, but still I'm going to make her the daughter, make her the CEO, right? So it might not be for the good of the company. And most importantly, resisting change, not embracing change, which is not a big problem with our company, which we'll learn going ahead. But yes, that does come up with family businesses. Now, although little has changed in the wood pencil technology for almost 300 years, the production technologies used to manufacture them have. So the pencil is the pencil. The pencil does not change, but how you make the pencil, how the costing of the pencil works, how the different categories, types of pencils are made changes. So your modern manufacturing environments, TQM, JIT, or any other modern manufacturing technique or modern manufacturing automation that you can think of comes into play. Now, with this also we learn that it's a relatively stable industry in terms of the external environment because not much has changed. Now, I earlier mentioned that it's a privately owned business, which we know. Thus, it faces less government and public scrutiny. It will aid with the long-term planning, and it limits your corporate governance exposure. On the other hand, they will have access to limited capital and limited credit because there are no shareholders. So extra money to be raised will have to be raised from inside the company itself, from the family's accounts, or from the bank if they're willing to give it to you. So yes, there is a limit to the credit, limit to the capital that comes into play with a privately owned business. Now, Lottie has always embraced change and taken every opportunity to automate processes in order to improve production efficiencies and quality of the product, which means we are accepting change. So, accepting change. In the modern environment, that is an ever-changing business scenario, we need to adapt with this, and hence this is our competitive advantage. You are good at embracing change. You are good at accepting change. That has to be your competitive advantage. So you can use this as part of your answer. Anything in the exam that you've got to write on competitive advantage, on let's say why you're better than your competitors, on why you're doing well, you can say that we have embraced change. We want to automate our processes. We want to remove the inefficiencies. And hence, this has added to our flexibility in the modern environment. So as you can see, I'm also giving you pointers on how you can use this in your exam, how you can use it in your particular answer that you'll be writing in your exam. And that's the whole point of the pre-scene analysis. Moving on. Innovations in pencil technology have been incremental rather than transformational in nature. Incremental meaning they've been small scale. They've not been large one-off changes. These include designing hexagonal rather than round-shaped pencils using water-based paints and developing anti-break cores, spindles. Now, 5 years ago, the company launched Pexico, an eco pencil manufactured using an extrusion process rather than woodwork. This also has to be your comparative advantage. It's an eco pencil. Now, this has been proven by customer preferences in the real world, in today's world. That customers are ready to pay extra for sustainable products. This could be our comparative advantage and further improving our corporate social responsibility image. So again, important point for you to include. Now, there was a word over there which mentioned extrusion process. So what does extrusion mean? Now, one of the very first steps for any pencil manufacturing will be making the graphite core, which is also known as lead. One method is your traditional method with wood blocks. The other method is also known as the extrusion process, in which the graphite mixture is forced through a die opening of the proper size, in addition to the conventional wood pencils. So as you can see over here, it's been pushed this way and a single pencil-like shape is formed. So this is the extrusion process in a normal business environment, just to give you a bit of insight, something because it's a very technical word. So we thought we'll put a diagram, help you know what an extrusion process is. Now, to build on the success of this innovation, the directors are working on adapting the Pexico for use as a stylus for laptops and tablets. Now, this can be seen as leveraging your already successful product for expansion into new markets. So something that's already successful, which is your PepsiCo pencil, you are building a variant of it which can be used in a different market altogether. So it's a new product and it's a new market. So if you look at your Ansof's matrix, it falls into the diversification strategy. This is also in line with the company's acceptance of change attitude, which means you are ready to accept change. You know that in the modern environment, everybody's using a tablet, everybody's using a laptop. So let's cater to those customers. So that's a good competitive advantage. That's a good point again for you to include. Now, all the products are manufactured on a site close to the location where the company first began to produce pencils. So again, just to point out, we are manufacturers. Although Golland is a high-wage economy, the directors have refused any suggestion that the company should relocate to countries where factors of production are cheaper. So it's a high-wage economy. We earlier spoke of this as well. It's a developed country. So your factors and the cost of production is going to be high. Now let's look at positives and negatives of, let's say, remaining in your home country as to migrating or relocating or outsourcing. Now, what are the positives of this situation that you remain in your home country? The government will look upon your business favorably when it comes to taxes, import export duties, local laws, etc. For example, we can see this in the US as well. The US government is promoting US brands. They're giving them huge subsidies, they're giving them huge opportunities, and they're protecting outside investment coming into the US as well. So yes, that's one point. Second, people have a stronger connection with the company as many residents will be working with the company, growing its local influence. So people will have a connection with it because, for example, if my father or my brother is working with the company, I'm obviously going to be sympathetic towards it. So there is a local influence, there is a local commitment. And third, obviously, it stays true to the value of the company, the culture of the company as a family business. Now, what are the negatives of this? You will be losing out to competitors because indirectly they will experience lower costs in cheaper foreign countries and hence have a cost advantage over us, enabling them to lower prices, making it further difficult for us. So yes, losing out to competition. Losing out on government subsidies. Now, there are some countries like India or China or maybe any other developing country that's offering huge subsidies to foreign investments. So you're losing out on that as well. And you're losing out on expansion opportunities as well. So yes, it has both sides, positives and negatives. Now, outsourcing and relocation could be a recommendation opportunity if adverse situations arise in our home country. So if there is a huge recession or if there is a undeniable opportunity, yes, that can be a solution, that can be something that can be looked at. Now, the directors believe that the culture of the company is key to its success and that this would die if removed from its native soil and its dedicated workforce. So again, you can mention this as your competitive advantage. We have a dedicated workforce. A strong workforce, a committed workforce always leads to a successful business. So it's a very important part of your business. Lottie Graphite runs a public factory tour once a week. Now, this can also be seen as diversification, as moving into new unconventional areas. But yes, it's become very famous because if you go to the US, you can go to the Ford manufacturing plant. You can see the Tesla plant, whatever. So yes, that's an extra revenue generation area as well. So it's unconventional, but a very interesting avenue in today's world. If you're running it once a week, why once a week though? Because it can help you have that extra incremental revenue. So yes, an area that can be looked at as well. The company manufactures just under 300 million pencils, so 300 million pencils a year and sells them throughout most of the world. So you are global through its own extensive distribution network. So it's your own network. This is also known as being vertically integrated. The vertical integration is an arrangement in which the supply chain of a company is owned by that company itself, which in this case means you are already a producer of the pencils, but you also have your own distribution network, your own distribution line. So as you can see, manufacturing and distribution is handled by Lottie Graphite. This is vertical integration. What are the benefits? It helps you to secure critical supplies on time. So you will be able to control the distribution. You will be able to supply wherever you want at a particular time because of your planning, your control. It has better controls, it can lower costs, and it can improve quality. Whereas the limitations will be increasing cost. You need to own a whole lot of logistics softwares, a whole lot of logistics machines, or let's say trucks or whatever. There can be legal repercussions. It reduces your flexibility and sometimes destroys the value as well because it's not your core activity. The company's brand is recognized globally and the products are acknowledged as premium quality. So if you're premium quality, which means extremely high quality and hence high prices, it's innovative. So it focuses and invests in groundbreaking and first to market products like we did with our PepsiCo pencils as well. And it's recognized globally. It's a global brand. So obviously you have a lot of open markets. Lottie Graphite employs over 1,000 employees. The majority of the employees are based from Goland, from where the product can easily be distributed to all of mainland Europe. So again, this has to be an advantage of you being situated in Goland. The remaining employees work in company offices in North America, South America, Australasia, supervising procurement, inventory management, distribution, and sales at a local level. So as you can see, it's a well spread out company present in almost all parts of the world. So over here, a segment analysis, a geographical based divisional structure could be used for such a company. So again, something to ponder on, something to look at as your idea or as a recommendation. Financial results throughout the history of the company have been buoyant. Now, obviously, financial results have to be positive if the company is to succeed for 112 years. But if you look at numbers, it says that in 2019, the reported annual revenue was 151.4 million, profit before tax of 12.3 million. This compares to an annual revenue of 149 million and profit before tax of 11.7 in 2018. So you can definitely use these numbers in your answer. Trust me, it will add high value to your answer. While writing anything on expansion, on anything on comparative advantage, you can say that our year-on-year profits have been increasing from 11.7 million in 2018 to 12.3 million in 2019. This can be our comparative advantage. This shows that we as a company are growing. People are accepting our products. So by using these numbers, the examiner knows that, okay, the pre-scene has been analyzed, the pre-scene has been read, and your business and integration marks will be given to you. And sometimes that's the difference which helps you pass. So yes, that's important that you use these numbers somewhere, somehow. So this also tells us that it's a rapidly growing company, and please make sure you take ideas from these numbers and use them in your answers. Moving on, we will be doing the directors. So they've also given us director information. Now, Mia Smeed is the managing director, is responsible for the company's future direction and growth. She is the fourth generation of the same family to run Lottie Graphite and has been educated and trained for this post since her teen years. Like I told you, family businesses introduce their kids to the business at a very young age, so they know everything, so they uh, have that particular attention, attraction to the business. So since her teens, she has been in and around the business. So she is bound to have inside knowledge and experience in the operations of the company, which can come in very handy. And managing director needs to know all of this. It is important to know is that she is educated. So along with her experience, she has the technical knowledge as well, which is very important in some speed breaker situations. So technical knowledge is required. Now you can say that this appointment is justified. She has the knowledge, she has the experience. So it's well justified. It's not only because she is a family member. Remember, these analyses again have been given to you to use in your answer, to use as a reference. For example, when you're writing anything in the exam, which is based on direction or growth, you can say that we can take the opinion of Mia Smeed, who is the experienced managing director of our company. So just putting in a couple lines here and there, director mentions, director names, will definitely add value to your answer. Next is Diane Renchum. She is the finance director and she is CIMA qualified. So prior to joining the company, she held senior posts in publicly owned companies. So she was also part of public companies in the retail and technology sectors. So she has business environment knowledge. She's CIMA educated, so obviously she has the technical knowledge. She's previously worked in public companies, so she needs and must have market and external knowledge, which can prove beneficial. Then there is Jack Berlin, who is the production director. Jack is an engineer by profession and has worked in car manufacturing before moving on to another pencil manufacturer, and then he joined Lottie. He's been in there for 16 years. So he's very well experienced and an educated director, also has relevant past experience in the same pencil manufacturing industry. You can use his name for a consultation while writing any planning, manufacturing related topics. Next is Bridget Loudon. Procurement director is responsible for the procurement of all inputs needed to run the company. So all the inputs, all the graphite, all the lead, all the wood, all the other stuff that is coming into the business goes through Bridget. She's also an engineer by profession and has extensive experience. So her job is very important as the input will define the final product. The input is not good, the output obviously will not be. So high skills and high experience are what is needed for this role, and she has both. This is our competitive advantage, which you can definitely use. Then there is Binara Pratt. She is the IT director. She is the first non-European board member of the company. Her responsibilities cover all aspects of ITs, from the systems used for accounting to the GPS and the logistics software. So she has been given a lot of responsibility. She looks at overall IT and she also looks at GPS and logistics software. So yes, it could be, you can say that GPS and logistics do fall under the IT umbrella, but there could be a sub branch for it. There could be someone else who is handling GPS and logistics and robotics and reporting to Binar, because one person handling all of this does look like a problem, does look like the manager not being able to give time to everything. So the board could look at distributing some of our work / control departments to make sure one director is not controlling or not overwhelmed by the amount of work. So yes, that could be looked at, because GPS, logistics and robotics are the way ahead, is the way ahead. So you need to give these functions focus, time. Next is Ben Tacker, who is the sales and marketing director. He has worked for the company for 12 years. Now, innovation has been our key development area and key competitive advantage, and hence Ben's role as sales and marketing director will complement this area. Being the sales and marketing director, he will have external market knowledge, and this will help him with his product development and his innovation. So as you can see, the pre-scene analysis by us is done in a very detailed way. It's done in a very illustrative way to make it colorful, make it easy for our students to grasp ideas, to make your notes. A full PDF file will also be sent of this to all our students so that you can print it out, keep it with you. Part 2 of the pre-scene analysis will also be available. All you need to do is, the information over here has been presented. So for part 2, you can reach us on help@Finntutors or at www.finntutors.com. We also do a lot of mock questions, and most importantly, the second part of the pre-scene has a whole financial analysis, where all the inventory days, receivable days, payable days, and all those numbers will be calculated for you, and we'll be discussing them in class. So it's also important to look at the company from all perspectives. This is just part one. Similarly, we'll be doing a detailed part two of the pre-scene analysis to finish it off. And after that, we start doing our mock questions, which will be questions exactly like the exam, covering your E1, P1, F1 syllabus. Obviously, they will be relevant to this case study. You will be writing them and we will be marking them exactly like the examiner would, which helps you build your knowledge, builds your confidence. So yes, that's it for part one.